Bad boys, what you want, what you want, what you gonna do when Sheriff John Brown come for you?
The Good, the Bad, and the Guilty is recorded live with the men and women of law enforcement. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Now, here's your host, Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Well, thank you to everyone for joining us again today on a Wednesday for the Good, the Bad, and the Guilty. I'm Sheriff Darren Campbell, and today, as you've seen, I've got some good-looking guys here to my, I guess on camera depends if it's left, but I think it's my left. Brian Fink, who's a major, and Jarid Church, who's a sergeant on Lake Patrol. Appreciate y'all coming today.
Glad to be here again.
And everybody that's listening, hey, we'll be live on Facebook. Please comment. We got two of us watching it, X, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can see us on the app and also at the website. But we got to give shout out to our sponsors, which is Harrison. And from the job site to the rodeo to the backyard hammock, Harrison has you covered. They're the Southeast leader in Carhartt area workwear, and nobody has more in-stock work boots than they do. They can get you ready to go booting, scooting, and from the Western favorites like Cinch, Rock, Roll Denim, and Wrangler. Visit their Mooresville location or shop online at harrisonsusa.com. Our home for work, Western, and, about everything. And, we throw a little plug in for Harrison's. I mean, they really go above and beyond to help us.
They do, and we were there today, this morning.
Y'all's already been shopping at Harrison's?
Yeah, getting our uniforms fitted.
Yeah, I know. I had to get mine fitted, too. Yeah. Well, and Jared, you're like me, and my son, Lawson, makes fun of, because he was watching the reruns because we was talking about how big his feet was last week. And Harrison's really the only place he can get good boots. But you've got a couple coming up, too.
Oh, yeah, they're growing like weeds. And they got, as far as the sizes down there, they were plenty big enough for them.
And if you've never been down to Harrison's, you've got to go just to see it. Obviously, even if they didn't sponsor the show, I'd still brag on them because
the employees are super nice.
They are cool.
They're all super nice.
Well, today I guess we're going to talk about it. We usually try to do this during the year, but a lot of usually at the first of the year, and this is a fitting day just with the warm weather and everything is the lake. Jared, you're a sergeant on our Lake Patrol, and Brian, you're obviously the major of our South End operations. And a lot of people I don't think they understand just how big Lake Norman is. And when you start talking about Iredell, we share it with, I believe, 4 other counties. But we have over half of it, and the total lake is about 32,000 acres with over 520 miles of shoreline, and we're responsible for over 279 miles of that shoreline. And also, in addition, and we're going to announce that, we just put the press release out a while ago, is now we actually have a full-time presence, or at least a patrol vessel, up on Lake Lookout, because that's always been a hard lake to reach. If there was a drowning or something, it may take us, what would you say, 45 minutes to an hour to get a boat up there.
Yeah, and it just depends on traffic, and everybody knows you start going around Mooresville, or you can go up the west side or the east side, and traffic is going to dictate the best way to get up there. And you add trying to haul a vessel up there while you're doing it, it's going to complicate it versus getting up there and having it staged. It's going to make it a lot quicker response.
And one thing about Lake, it's not, I think it's about a 1,400 acre impoundment. It's not a big one, but one thing is only one access on our side. We do have another one we could get to, but that's through a lock gate in another county. But there's a ways. But also, just adding a little bit on the lake, we have over 900 vacation rental properties on Lake Norman. Several boat businesses that rent boats, and we know all about that. We have worked a long time to work with increasing our presence on the lake. And the cool thing, and I've got to say hats off to our General Assembly members, Gray Mills one, but really Vicky Sawyer, Senator Sawyer has yes.
And she's been great, man. Awesome.
Yeah, because I'm thinking we did use, obviously if you think about what we've added to the lake, and that's huge. There's almost 50,000 registered boaters on the lake. I would hate to know how many people's out there on any given weekend, but if you go think we've added the large safe boat, the 27-foot, I believe it's 27-foot safe boat, so we could do rescue operations, and we're out there pretty much on a full-time presence. But that was bought with drug dealer money. The second boat that we got was through working with Senator Sawyer and getting another vehicle, basically the same thing, or another boat in appropriations from the General Assembly. And we also have the capability, if you remember, the fireman a couple of years ago that drowned trying to do recovery operations for another drowning victim, and he died. So now we have an ROV, which is a remotely operated vehicle that can actually do underwater rescue. 2 of them.
Yeah, 2 of them, yep.
Underwater rescues, has sonar and everything, and we can actually do underwater crime scene, which is cool.
Absolutely.
And I'm trying to remember what else.
And going back to Lake Lookout, the first week that we put the boat up there,
Already getting calls.
we had a call, so it's already being used. So that was good that we had it up there.
So, well, and Jared, you're the expert. I mean, you've been patrol, you've been on the, well, obviously you got a background in, but you've been with us now for a long time on the, not a long time, I mean, 6 years? Seven.
This-
That's close.
In the next week, it'll be 7 years.
And y'all are doing fine here on, you see, you was worried about your looks here on the camera, but y'all are doing just fine. So, but the important, how many operations, I guess, if you don't go down there all the time, you don't see how busy the lake is and why we have to have a presence, you know. And we don't want to forget about our Lake Watch program. You know, that's something we want to get into, because when I seen the email list and the stuff that we can do notify, we'll get into that a little bit. If they're not members, they can absolutely call us. We'll reach out and they can do all that. So tell me a little bit of why the lake's so important.
I mean, if you simply just look at the growth in this county, a lot of it is concentrated around that Mooresville area. And with Lake Norman being one of the largest man-made lake in North Carolina, obviously it's going to be a draw for tourism and recreation. So those people like to get out there and enjoy this nice Piedmont, North Carolina weather. So
How cold is it? Brian, have you
Well,
went
the
swimming
survey
yet?
we did was like over 6 million people has visited Lake Norman. That's a lot of people. That's a lot
It's
of people.
unbelievable. I just got a text. You know, obviously people's listening. I will say, and I'll give you two. You'll guess who this is. Former chief here with me. Took me fishing one time on the lake. You know, I usually fish lookout when I was growing up. A bad storm, and somebody says, it's not going to storm. Well, we end up tying up under a bridge, and that would be Marty Byers, who just sent me that message. So I've been down a striper fish with him in the ice and everything else. So but you know, he brings that point. There are a lot of recreational people out there too. We have a lot of fishing charter companies that run out of Lake Norman now that a lot of people wouldn't believe. I don't know how many, but I know there's some of them. And when I say charters, I'm talking about these people that, you know, take people out fishing.
oh yeah.
So, Jared, tell me what y'all's average day, or, you know, we've got about a minute and then we'll come back after break, but just sort of leading us into it, if you want to just, you know, tell us a little bit about what y'all's average day and as far as the personnel we have on the lake. And
Well, since I've been here in the 7 years, we've grown. You've kind of added to the unit as far as helping better serve that community down there. So we've had added personnel and the equipment that you mentioned earlier. So it starts early in the morning. We cross-train with some of our road deputies so they can respond early. I mean, you got your hunters and fishers first thing in the morning, and then you got the afternoon crowd. But this lake never dies down. It's got constant traffic on it. And obviously it's more in the summertime, but it's you're out there on the water. It's a full-time job. That's why we have the positions.
well, and back in the old days, I know before we got the boat that was actually climate control, you know, people, you know, I'm sure y'all don't use it a lot, but when you're out there for a drowning, if it's a fisherman or a hunter during the winter, or such, when they tried to set the Guinness Book of World Records with the Trump boats, 4,000
parade.
boats, it's hard for us to be out there in a smaller boat and keep people safe.
Absolutely.
And you know, we'll come back a little bit and talk about a little bit what y'all see. And I guess you're right how much we've grown, but the Lake Watch program and things like that we deal with, you know, you wouldn't think it is the largest man-made lake in the state of North Carolina. And, you know, us having so much of it is unbelievable. So we'll come back in about 2.5 minutes and we'll get back on this. Well, everybody, welcome back to The Good, the Bad, and the Guilty. And obviously, I'm still here with Sergeant Church and Major Fink. And I think we were sort of hit a little bit on the lake. Before I go, let me remind everybody, you can comment on Facebook. You can watch us on X, LinkedIn, YouTube, the app, WSIC app, and also the website. So feel free. We're trying to watch them as much as we can on the comments. So if you have any questions. But, Jared, one thing I was sort of, as we go through the paperwork and things I'm trying to remember in the show is, it's not just patrolling the lake. The lake watch is one thing, but it's also the checking stations, the things we do for. And when I say checking stations, I'm talking about not just for safety, but also at the marinas and the launching areas for children's safety. And y'all have even put together things we want to maybe issue. Help the kids, encourage them to wear life vests and more this year. So, tell us all about that.
Well, we do get. Outside of just being on the water every day and trying to keep people safe, we, especially in the wintertime, we try to build a lot of connections in the community, and that door to door with the Lake Watch, talking to people, what issues or concerns they have, talk about, what you've done with the Lake Enforcement Unit and what our job is and how we can better serve them, but also the businesses. And
when you got to fill us in, tell us a little bit about what the Lake Watch is, because y'all, you got to give yourself credit because y'all have made that work well.
Well, it just, letting them know we're out there, what our job function is, what we provide here in Iredell County for all the citizens down there. And if they want to sign up, we can get contact information, and we keep it in-house. And I'll share that information, or not, I'll share information with them. This isn't, the 1,000 spam calls you get every day, but if I have pertinent information that I can geographically isolate a certain area and say, hey, be on the lookout for this. I mean, a couple of years ago, some of our detectives were working a case with stolen, discontinued PWCs, or personal watercraft. And because this guy was stealing them for parts, he also had a drug problem. But because of that Lake Watch list, we were able to make connections with people in the community, and they gave us information that led to the arrest of a guy from out of county.
Well, you got to give yourself credit. Y'all, the Lake Watch is sort of the old community watch. Basically, what y'all have done, and I've seen the list. You all have went to about every resident on that lake, got an email, a contact person, even down to what the description, even who you spoke to when you was there. So, and what you're talking about notifying them is, say we have a rash of, I guess, electronics off boats being stolen, or somebody suspicious. It's maybe something that the press don't pick up, but we can send out a targeted email to that small group. And there's plenty of examples. We sell Stutz, them neighborhoods or whatever, that's important to them, but maybe people on the whole other side of the lake is not so much interested, but we can send those targets. So y'all have went above and beyond, but it's just like the old community watch. If you see something, say something. And our crime rates have plummeted on the lake.
And
even putting, addresses on the docks where they can respond to calls by water. Sometimes you get there a lot quicker by boat than you can by vehicle.
Oh, yeah, we've responded to a lot of calls that, it might be the next street over. And, today I think Nathan's birthday, but he used to throw a bike on the boat, and we still do. And you can, everybody knows the traffic down in Mooresville.
See, that's the thing, people. So you're right, Nathan, is his birthday.
Yeah.
Nathan Rash,
You think he's listening to us?
I don't know. He's at the coast.
He's
now,
down at the beach
He
fishing.
might. Yeah.
Well, so y'all still carry a bicycle on the boat. So if you have to get out in one of those communities, you can launch from a dock, I assume, pull up, dock, and take your bike.
And going back to, like, if something is stolen or damaged, or a boat is loose or anything, we have that contact that we've got that we can call the people at that residence and say, hey. So it's good to have.
And I will say, if we haven't got to you yet, you're more than welcome to reach out to us, and we'll add you to the list. But we're working our way around, and I know there's property changes hands from time to time. And if you're hearing this and haven't been approached yet, feel free to reach out, and we'll be glad to share that information.
And there's easy
with
ways they can email us at icsoinfo@iredellcountync.gov, or they can go and download our app, which is free on Google Play, which is Iredell County Sheriff's Office, or they can follow us on Facebook and send us a direct email, and we'll get it to the right people, or they can simply call the Mooresville office.
Yep.
That's another thing, Brian, we'll get into in just a little bit, is your Mooresville office. But Jared, I was looking here at some of y'all's hours or some of your things that you accomplished. Excuse me. Just in miles, even when you're not on the water, just driving and patrolling, like say at 2 a.m, whatever. Y'all have drove over 91,000 miles, over 1,100 just calls for service at that. And at the same time, you don't think you answering regular patrol calls, but y'all do trespassing, suspicious vehicles, domestics, even over 500 traffic stops. And I don't think that counts boat stops.
No. I mean, if we see something, we're going to handle it.
Alarm calls.
And
You'll get a lot
if
of
we're
alarm
closest,
calls.
if we can keep a zone car freed up to go handle that, and then more serious calls, then we're going to be that additional assisting officer to help them until maybe some more units get on scene. So we try to help out anywhere we can. So.
And we were talking about earlier about Lake Lookout. We also do Lake Davison. So part of Lake Davison is in the county. So.
Everybody's saying, "Where is Lake Davis?" You got to feel it. You got to tell everybody.
That
where
is if you're coming into Iredell County, you look to the right. That is that body of water where everybody jet
And if you're
ski.
going out, you go to the left, where everybody slows down.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and can you access Lake Davidson from Lake Norman?
Yes, we go to. There's a ramp over at Bridges Farm that we use. So
I guess what I was saying is everybody that wants to go over there and shoot on the interstate, you can't do that. To get over to that's totally blocked off from boat traffic.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to get across unless you're that one guy that tried to launch a speedboat across it one day.
Yeah, that was on. Yeah,
Long
that was
time
on the paper.
ago.
Yep, when he come up across. Yeah, so well, and that's good. And I'm trying to think of anything else. There's Jared. What do you want to say? Now going on summer. I mean, one thing I was thinking about, and I know that people has not been out there much since hurricane back last couple months ago. How much debris is still in the water that on the sandbars? Because there just haven't been a lot of people out there. I know y'all do a job. If people report it, we try to get it moved. And Duke Power, we got to give them a shout out because Duke Power has been unbelievably working with law enforcement on the lake.
Oh, yeah.
Currently, they're trying to assist us in getting another location down there. Don't want to put them out there, but they've been very responsive to anything that we've ever asked them to do.
Yeah.
And that's the networking that Jared and the guys have done. I give them the credit for that. They go to a Marine Commission, monthly, and they do a really good job of that. And that's where all that comes from. So, and Jared don't like to talk about himself a lot, but stuff like that is.
Well, I got good guys, and
You better
we've been
give them a
blessed.
shout out. Now, who all's deputies down Lake Patrol?
So I got some of my veteran guys are Brooks Weathers and Ethan Johnson, and then over the last little expansion that you've kind of helped out with down there, Jacob Carter, Joseph Bayer, and Tony Oxendine. And then we've got a couple of part-time guys that have extensive, careers that they've retired from their previous jobs, but they still want to contribute to the community and their wealth of knowledge and their contacts in the community as well. So,
And we've also got to poke a little fun at the other Lake Patrol. I don't know if you've got any of them. Y'all should have them listening, but we have Cornelius out there. We work with Lincoln County and Catawba County. I can't remember if Mecklenburg.
they have a
Sheriff's office.
They have a press the
Or
sheriff's
CMP,
office.
I'm sorry, CMPD.
Yeah, they'll be down there around McGuire, but they have other responsibilities at Wiley and that stuff too. So they're kind of like us. They got to kind of share the love around and got multiple areas that they got to handle. So
Well, with us, every time we get, and Brian, you know this as well, every time we get a text of a airplane crashes or an overturned boat, it seems like Lake Patrol, we can get a faster response, even though we work well with Mooresville Fire. We work great with wildlife. Those guys are great to work with. But we are us having that presence on the lake now because it's so busy. No matter if it's January, it's still busy.
yeah.
Well, the plane crash, we were first on the scene, I believe, or right at it, because we had to keep everybody, away from the crash site. So they did a good job.
There's been multiple, and we've been working recently. I know Ethan's been kind of putting together a map for critical incidents, not your normal, complaints or something, but something where there's a boat accident or a plane crash or, a drowning. We kind of charted those all over the lake, and there's no hot zone. That whole lake is its own, entity, and some people hang out on one side or the other, but we've got to be able to get from one end to the other. And, these boats are what's nice. It's going to cut down on our response time and kind of saves my back too. I'm not getting any younger. And the old style center console fishing boats, it's hard to keep up with the traffic and the amount of volume that we see out there in different environmental conditions. So
I got a text here. Somebody wants to know, is there really alligators in Lake Norman?
I will not confirm nor deny because I don't want to spread panic. But
Okay, that ain't making nobody feel no better.
Norman.
yeah, or Normie, the
Normie.
Loch Ness monster.
A lot, and this is true. Now, I don't know where it's at, but I've seen there is an airplane that's on the bottom of Lake Norman,
Yes,
and you're supposed to be mission to find
there's
that
a whole
thing.
town underneath there.
That's
East Mambo.
That's right.
The mills and all that from this after Hurricane Helene, everybody kind of reached back into that flood in 1916, which kind of put us in the situation we're in as far as the way that Duke set up their kind of water control system. And obviously it creates hydroelectric power, but it's a lot of it's flood control.
The day of the hurricane, when we started getting in the water was coming down, I remember we was getting it, and the next thing I see on even I think it was all over social media was people that got on their docks for some reason, and the dock, even there's a couple, their boats was going, and they were out on the water trying to save, and the docks broke away.
Yep.
We're having to do that. It's not a big thing that we say a lot about, but there was just a lot of those that happened. Before we go to break, got a minute. One thing I was going to get back to, as far as the debris, are we still seeing a lot of debris in the lake, or is it pretty much cleaned out, or?
Well, there's going to be some settling after all of that. However, in the wintertime, they tend to draw down the lake levels. So as the levels start rising, you might start having access to stuff that is washed up. And so some of that, so always be careful and make sure you're looking out ahead. But, the recent rain, there was a lot of debris. We're moving man-made stuff or natural stuff out, not man-made stuff, out of the way and trying to clear it out of the main channels and things like that. But always
wouldn't
be on
think
the lookout.
y'all do a lot of that. Some of the buoys that get washed down, but it's all the time.
Trees, just full-blown trees floating in the middle, and you get them out of there because, the last thing you want to do is have somebody hit that and create a terrible accident and throw people in the water. So.
Yeah, then you
make some major damage too. So.
Oh yeah.
And you imagine being out there at night. Well, listen, we're going to take another break. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. As always, send us some comments on Facebook and anything like that. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you. Welcome back to Good, the Bad, and Guilty with Jared and Brian. I should say Major and Sergeant.
Nah,
That sounds better.
We're in a fine in here.
Well, everybody remember you can comment, You can comment on Facebook, watch us on X, LinkedIn, YouTube app, and the website. And I want to throw another bone out to Harrison's for sponsoring the show. We really do appreciate it. And Brian, we got to take notes because when we're off the air, you come up with some of your best ideas. But there's a lot of things. And one thing, Jared, they did that I do remember now is, when the hurricane come through, you're talking about the tools with the Lake Patrol and things like that. You all used the ROV, the remotely operated vehicle, to assist in not only evidence, but also I remember getting a call from the North Carolina Sheriff's Association. We were the only ones that basically looked for drowning victims and bodies in different parts of the water. And obviously with the debris, it was hard to do. But tell us a little bit about how you help out other, not just here in Iredell, but other places that we've been, just because of the assets that you have on the lake.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've added these tools, and who are we to say that we can't, use them to help somebody else? And, departments have called us before and say, hey, we've checked everything. We're trying to locate a firearm used in a crime in our jurisdiction. And we want to eliminate the fact that it got thrown off this bridge when they were going over Lake Norman. So we'll go in and dive for it and see what we can find for them and say, yeah, it's here, it's not. And
now, what all kind of stuff have you found that you wasn't expecting to find? I mean, like
you name it, man.
Other crimes,
tires, and just all kinds of stuff, and
All kinds of stuff.
so.
I figure you probably find a lot of paper boxes, and believe it or not, I'd hate to know what's under the Buffalo Shoals Bridge, and I'm sure y'all play with that thing. Go look. Problem is the clarity here in Lake Norman sometimes not the best, but
No, and anytime you get into current, it kind of changes the difficulty of operating. But Brooks Weathers kind of researched that after some direction for what you wanted, and he did a great job. Was able to, there was X amount of money that we were looking at, and he was able to get us the top of the line and then a secondary. And the top of the line one could be used up in a river and actually stabilize in current and all of that. And the technology that's on it, as far as the sonar and the cameras and all that GPS stuff, it's just phenomenal.
as far as the lake, for the law enforcement side, y'all really, and I could be speaking way off base, but y'all are about the only law enforcement agent that has this type of technology currently out there as far as where we're at with the ROVs and the...
As far as I'm aware of around here, yeah.
Yes.
I know a lot of fire departments have it, and theirs are different models. Ours kind of meets another niche as far as what its capabilities are, because we work out there with them every day, and so you want to be complimentary, but also better serve.
we're always. I know how y'all are. You're always competing. And just go ahead and say it. You're competing with the fire.
Well, and it's not just used for the lake. It's used for we used it in the north end. A couple times in the river and creeks and things like that. So it's just not used for the.
Well, and we do, you talk if something bad happened, when you say airplane crash or a big drowning operations, knock on wood, we don't have nothing this year. Last year was a lot safer than usual, but we all, from the fire departments and volunteer to Mooresville to Sherrills Ford, some of those, and I know I'm gonna miss some of the fire departments, Troutman, Fire and Rescue. We work very well with those group of people, and y'all train a lot together. So even when you was designing the boat, and Jerry, give yourself credit, we was one of the first ones that had a drop down bow on one of these safe boats. And if you want to see it, you can go on Facebook and search it. It's on there, but that was to recover, potentially injured people, drowning or whatever.
Well, you gave us the opportunity to design the boat.
And y'all did it all yourself.
We asked local fire and all that, and that wasn't even an option on the boat. So
they fabricated it for us.
And if you want to tell me a little bit about it since then.
Yeah, I mean, working with Safe Boat was awesome, and the sales rep, and it's like, we don't do that, but I'll talk to the engineers, and the next thing.
And now, how many have they sold? Since I'm just guessing, how many have they sold now that they added did you get you some royalty money?
Told me 6, but I'm not.
No, after he said it was a go, when we ordered that first one, he had already sold 9 before he called me back to tell me that, I can do it on your boat. So.
Take it you didn't get no royalties for your engineering or nothing?
No.
They looked after us on the second one, so.
Yeah.
Did they? Okay, well, that's good. So. There again, I do want to emphasize, I know Vicki Sawyer was very instrumental in helping us. She at that time was serving some more the south end and now all of Iredell, but was very helpful in helping us get those appropriations. If you wonder what appropriations, it's basically money out of the general fund, or, excuse me, from North Carolina General Assembly. But the way my math works If there's 100 counties, that means everybody puts in 1 penny, just for simple numbers. That means we put 1 penny to get a new boat. Every time you divide it up, that's the way my math works.
Yeah,
on the
she's
state
been
side.
really.
So it's a benefit to the citizens.
Vicky's been really good to us, down there.
Yes. But look, and Todd Carver's going to be great. Gray was great. They're going to be great working with us down there. You think about it, and you go back to the General Assembly appropriation. Here our taxpayer dollars would have to pay. It's not cheap to run those boats for these emergency calls and just patrol because we can't drive a car. But how many visitors we have? I bet you 1 in 5 is probably from our. The rest is from other places. They come during the summer to visit the lake.
Absolutely. And, there's a lot of people on spring break right now, and you go up and down the road and you're going to see out-of-state tags. And with all the rental properties and things like that, those calls are picking up. And they're out there, especially on a day like today.
Now I got another text. It's totally off. How many famous people have you went and run up to on the lake? Who's the most famous person?
Most famous person?
Well, name them all. I mean, it's just a question. They're listening because I'm sure
A lot of the NASCAR drivers we deal with a lot, and they're good to us too.
Yeah, but they're from here.
But they're
I don't really
here,
count
but-
them. And not in a bad way. I mean,
Yeah,
they are.
the
but-
DeBerties, we see them all the time. They're out cruising for supper and usually throw up a hand and wave at us. And plenty of the NASCAR folks will throw up a hand.
A lot of the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah,
Yep.
Carolina Panthers.
So.
I know I see some other NFL been out there. I can't think of the name now. Got me on the spot, but they're out there fishing because it's a great fishery. So,
Which, us that do fish, it wasn't always that way. It has improved a lot. So,
Yeah.
Greg Olson, he came out and rode
our
on
Lake Patrol.
Yeah, he came
y'all
out.
had Eric Trump on the Lake Patrol boat at one time.
Yep.
So we got about 3 minutes for our last phase. I'm telling you, this went by fast. Brian, you had some things that we're talking about on break. We want to get just some of the newer laws or maybe some of the things just to make sure. And we'll come back and address them in the last segment. But
We'll kind of go over that, but and Jared's a little bit better than this and all that. But you got to be 13 and over to 13 and under. You got to have a life jacket. So if you're out there and you're 13 and under, but if you're 14 and over with a boater safety, you have to have a boater safety license to drive a boat or a water ski.
And just clear, when you say have it, that don't mean laying
Right.
down
And-
below you. You've got or a 13-year-old.
Yeah, and it takes wildlife does
Yeah, they offer classes also.
all year round.
There are, online classes that you can pay for and all of that. It's free. I don't know why you would pay for it. And obviously get the firsthand knowledge from some of our local, they give these classes all the time, schedule them in different places right here in Iredell County. And you can get firsthand information. They're going to tell you the most important stuff, localized knowledge, what you need to know to be safe out there on the water.
And having a life jacket, you should always have a life jacket. They got a program now that pretty much all boat ramps, we get life jackets through a community business.
And who is
That's Kerrigan Farms.
Kerrigan Farms?
Yes.
I know they
are
give us
really
like
good to us.
throw them bone.
They don't donate their life jackets, and then we make sure that each boat ramp has life jackets. So there's no reason not to have a life jacket on a boat. If you don't have one, you go over there and you just.
And that is great. When you go down, a lot of people think it's. I've heard people say it looks like people's dry. They wonder if they're drying their life vest or whatever. But they're hung up there, and you can use them. Just put them back if you will. And if you need one, take it.
If you need it, take it.
Take it.
We'll replace it, but.
Yeah, Kerrigan's very good at donating all those at no charge to us for those life vests.
And then the Marine Commission, Lake Norman Marine Commission, what needs do y'all have? And they've given us brand new ones that we'll keep on the boat. So if you have a child under 13 that's not wearing a life jacket, it does me no good to write them a ticket and then not correct the issue, because the main important part is to ensure the safety of that child. So
No matter what, if everybody says their kids can swim like a fish, you still need to wear a life, because the problems we have a lot of times, you never know how people, first of all, that it's easy to go in the water and you're not seen, but it's the way you may impact the water. It's what you may hit, the debris. You don't know what happened. So you need that life preserver on.
What you brought up earlier with the debris, you don't know what's a foot under the water. So I don't know why you'd have any kid or anybody diving off head first. Anyway,
and then you look at the traffic out there. So if they do fall off and they can swim, being well equipped enough to get back to them and able to get them back in the boat, how long is that going to take you?
And then the wakes, because we've been out there before, we'll be looking for something. Well, if we've had a drowning victim, and I know we've got about 30 seconds, but we'll throw a buoy marker out. And just with the wakes, it's hard to even see a marker, one of those little markers that shows a spot the GPS or the depth finder may have hit. You can't even see it, much less a child's
with
head.
the wind blowing too and the current of the water, if you're not anchored, the boat moves. So
That's right.
Some people can't swim as fast as the
And
boat.
we need to say, we'll come back here on a little bit on the drone, but we got to take our break, our last segment, and we'll be back in about 2.5 minutes.
Feels
Well,
not here.
do I?
Feels not here to enjoy his.
I know. Usually,
music.
I was going to ask either one of y'all if you'd want to bring us back in after break. So, okay, neither one of y'all claimed that.
No,
So,
go ahead. I just heard the music.
yeah. Well, welcome back to the Good, Bad, and Guilty. And Jared, or Brian, but I think it's more Jared. I said, y'all sort of got a little fan club because I'm sitting there looking. You know, Adam Blackburn must really, Jared, look up to you because he is just on there commenting about you. And Sissy, thanks as always for the support, and I just want to throw that out. So, hey, before we go,
CC's Joe's.
yeah,
Well,
yep, that's exactly who that is,
Yep.
and good supporter and everything of that
Yep.
nature. So, I was going to ask you, Jared. One thing we didn't talk about is the drone, the capability of the drone, and people don't know we use the drone down the lake, especially a missing person, a missing boater, say we had fog, which is always foggy on the lake. You know, you can use the thermal to find a missing boater, a lot of things like that. So, and the safety classes, and then we'll hit some of our press releases, and we've just completed one of the fastest hours they are.
Yep. No, going into the drones. So, like we've talked about the underwater drones, but there's also a tool or a benefit to having our aerial drones down there to get the bird's eye view when you're trying to search an area for somebody missing, or we've even used one in the recovery of a drowning victim to help locate that person in shallow water. So
That was down in Davidson.
yeah, Patrick
remember
Irwin
that.
did a good job with
That
that.
was an out of county case.
Yep. But with it being so shallow, you can only see so far with your side scan and your underwater capabilities. And so to get that bird's eye view really help locate that person in that area. And we've used it for, a lot of times if we have missing or elderly folks that walk away from home that just happen to live next to the lake, we're going to respond to that area and search it from the water and get a different perspective, but, use those tools in the air and on the water with the FLIR, the thermal technology and it's somebody's loved one. We're going to do everything we can to kind of help bring a resolution to that situation.
And that sort of goes back just a little bit just for a safety thing. You're talking about lake watch and stuff. That's another thing we really do because a lot of elderly people live on the lake. We do have a lot of that. But if you got on one of those docks, you happen to fall off and can't get back up or get injured or happen to get shocked. We've had that happen. Mm-hmm. But one of the biggest things that we've seen, this happened more than a couple times, is lawnmowers going off the bank and into the water and pinning people. Yep. We've had a couple deaths. Yep. You all have of course, patrol guys do too, but you all carry the AEDs, and also on the boat you carry AEDs. Yep. Which is your heart defibrillators. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people just throw you a little bone about that.
Yeah, well, being first on scene, a lot of the times, we keep a lot of basic first aid materials. All our guys go through Stop the Bleed classes and then refresh on that every year because, people don't think about that often, but anything from a dock injury where boats are getting shifted around, people's had pretty bad lacerations, and then in the water, picking somebody up or running somebody over with a prop, it becomes very life-threatening very quickly with the loss of blood there. So
and going on a little bit of your training, I didn't think about this just a while ago, and y'all will remember exactly what I'm talking about. You wouldn't think of it. You are equipped also if we was to have an active shooter or somebody with a long gun out on the lake. We're prepared for that, and you have the equipment on them. But we had that. Was it last year where we had the 911 call that was misplaced to Iredell County? Mm-hmm. Where basically it was I believe there'd been people threw overboard and had a shooter on one of the larger boats. It was the wrong county doing training. And we got the actual 911 call, and y'all responded to that with that person supposedly with a fake gun. Well, we got the call as a real gun throwing bodies off a vehicle or off the boat, and y'all responded. And I think there was a real quick in a hurry. They understood that you were equipped to handle any kind of situation like that. Mm-hmm. I don't guess we don't need a synopsis of it, but basically that you're equipped to handle any of those because that could have potentially been bad because we were playing with real guns, and we got the call.
And I'll give a shout out to you and some of the team guys, the CERT team. We train with the team will train with the lake guys because you never know when some kind of situation like that's going to break off. So, doing water operations and things like that as far as accessibility to certain places. So we train ahead, and you've put that in place since you were a team member.
Well, and y'all wouldn't think. You've got. Obviously. Trump National is world known, and we've had the issue. There's a lot of things that we have took precautions in because it does have. That's a tough place. One way in, really way out, and plus lake water access. So there's a lot of times that they have. Yeah, they have very important people come down there. We've had everybody from presidents of General Motors. There's been a lot of people that come down there, and we provide that level of security, and that's a big tall order for y'all to make sure, and we've got those assets.
Absolutely.
Now, if anybody visits, even the son Eric comes, we have to be prepared for that. And
well, and that goes really wasn't what was going to, but it goes about the capability that is on the lake, not only just for that, but for any citizen down there. If we was to need that, you're right, because now that he is, Eric Trump is the son of the president. Well, you have Secret Service issues. We have to work with that. We understand different evacuation routes if they do come, because that is still their club and they still have a business, at least that part of the family. So we had to make sure that we're capable of dealing with anything that was happening. We have had issues happen. Nothing bad, but we've always had issues we've had to deal with, and good relationship with them as well.
But we always had the tools that you gave us to help us with that. So
Brian, in the last 5 minutes, I know you had said something. I can't remember. Was you going to say something about inspections or safety inspections? I
was going to let Jared talk. We do boater safety 3 to 4 a year, and Jared's got the times on those. And
so, in an effort to be proactive, I think you build a culture here at the sheriff's office that we would rather be proactive than reactive, and that's the road patrol. And we've taken it into the lake patrol as well. We're not out there to, law people all the time, for minor things that I can prevent prior to them getting on the water as far as the safety concerns. So we'll set up pre-launch safety inspections where they can come to the boat ramp. We can go through their stuff, make sure that everything's up to date. Their
When you
life
say boat
jackets,
ramp, you mean in the state like Stumpy, Hager's Creek, any of those?
Which, if people don't know, Stumpy's under construction right now, and I haven't got I know they were talking about the spring having it done, but I don't know what the timeline is on that. So the first one, May 23rd, will be at Pinnacle Access, and usually I will try to do it the Friday in the evening before a major holiday, Memorial Day, 4th of July, and then Labor Day.
And this is not for writing tickets. This is just make sure.
No, that's what we
just make sure we're
want to
safe.
do. We don't
Yep.
want to. We're not there to write tickets. We're there to prevent
let's
that.
not do that.
So
Yeah.
So if your life jackets are in ill repair and not going to serve the purpose that they're meant for, or your type 4, the cushion or the life ring, if you're missing that, we're going to tell you to go get it before you actually launch.
We'll
get on
say
the water.
something, and tell me this if I'm speaking, because I try to give everybody a little bit of creds if they do, but, Academy in the past has sort of helped us out with different things as far as us setting up Lake Patrol at their place of business down in Mooresville. So, we have a lot of businesses that really help us. Maybe not give us a bunch of life preserve, but they're still supportive of what y'all make.
And I've done boat inspections in their parking lot before.
Yep.
Somebody goes to get the boat registration or bill of sale, get everything switched over to their names.
The
I'll do
last
it
time
right
I was
in the
down there,
parking lot.
it was such heavy rain, I thought I was going to have to launch the boat there in the parking lot. I remember all of us standing under a tarp.
Yep.
So you got the one coming up in May,
Yep.
and you'll do them throughout the summer, I assume?
Yep. And we'll usually, they're good about posting it on the sheriff's Facebook page. So we'll let everybody know. And if they want to come by, or if that time don't work for you, reach out to us and we'll make sure you're squared away before you get out there this summer.
And real quick, I know you got other stuff to talk about, but
No,
if
no,
you
this
want to
is
get on,
y'all's show.
if you do want to ride on the boat, the Teen Academy and
And
the
Citizens,
Citizen
yep.
Academy, that's we got one coming this month down there. So if you want to get on the boat and ride with us, you'll get one of them.
And we've still got,
Classes.
we're doing Citizen Academy now. So
Yeah.
we've had 2 or 3 classes, but still anybody, if you can come for one, we're supportive. Contact us. Matt Burleson, contact us, email, send it through the app, whichever, and we're very open with let the
We'll
public
get
ride
both
on
boats out there and we'll make sure that everybody gets on if that's what.
The one thing, and before we move on, because we've only got about 2 minutes, but this won't take long. We last week we ended up seizing almost. This was Mr. Uella, 44 years of age of Chapman Lane, and it was felony trafficking in possession and maintain a vehicle dwelling controlled substance. Basically, it was fentanyl. We seized over 4.8 pounds of fentanyl. Our narcotics division, along with Gaston County Police Department, I believe is who it was. So everybody's been asking about that. It's got a lot of stuff on Facebook, but when you talk about fentanyl, we've seen it. I did see somebody today made another bust here locally, but we're still seeing it. You talk to your kids about it. Just be careful. But when you think about that, we done the math, and it was enough to kill 1,080,000 people just in one small trailer. And obviously he was in the country unlawfully. There'll be we've already issued deportations, or they will, one of us. So he is currently in jail, but I just want to say that was one of the biggest press releases, and that was a good job, on our narcotics, our patrol, and gas. I'm working with gas, and so I want to throw that out there real quick. So, Brian, that was on press release, and we've already done it on Facebook, so I really wasn't.
What else to say?
Y'all too good. No, we got a minute and 30 seconds.
No.
Hey, and I do one thing I was going to say. We're talking about Lake Patrol. Brian, we need to let everybody know. We also, if you do concealed carries and your purchase, which we no longer do purchase, but you concealed carries, any paperwork that you think you would have to come to Statesville for the sheriff's office, pretty much we have a Mooresville office on the second floor of the old
610 East Center Avenue down in Mooresville,
which is
it's
where,
the old Lawrence Hospital.
There you go.
Kind of slanted from the Mooresville High School. So if you have any questions about what me and Jared talked today, you can come down there. I'm there Monday through Friday, and I'll be glad to talk to.
Yep. So, and you don't have to drive all the states. So if you
Don't
want
have
to
to drive all the
renew
way.
your concealed carry, which goes right back to do it on the app, and there's a lot of talk about constitutional carry. We'll get into that on another show. But
And
right now, it's a lot of people don't know
the
that you
12
come
years
there.
I've been down there, it's you gave us another secretary down there, and the business down there is.
Well, and we
picking
also
up.
we moved. There again, I've never been much just to add personnel to add them, but we moved, now we got our fraud investigator assigned down. We have a sex offender. Our sex investigators for our investigative unit is assigned down there. So in Mooresville, you don't have to come to States for everything. Go by Mooresville. And you said the address again was what?
610 East Center Avenue.
which is there near Mooresville High School.
Right across from Mooresville
Old
High
Lawrence
School.
Hospital.
Yep, the
So-
Old Lawrence Hospital.
Well, thank you to everybody that joined us this week. Brian, Jared, thank y'all for coming. A lot of knowledge. We appreciate it. Lake is a big part of our stuff we do, and we'll make sure people's safe. And anybody has any questions, call us, send a message through that, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you, everybody.